Welcome to this seminar of the Water and Development Partnership Program on water infrastructure in times of war. We are very pleased to welcome so many of you here today, from our project teams, from our donor, the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and many external guests. This topic clearly sparks an interest among many of us, and we believe it deserves our full attention as the stakes are extremely high. In this seminar today, we would like to share insights from 3 different places where our projects take place: Sudan, Palestine, and Yemen, to show how violent conflicts affect water infrastructure and how this puts further at risk the already highly vulnerable population. With this, we aim to call attention to this highly complex and worrying issue and discuss how and in which ways we can and need to continue doing research on water in times of war. To not only document what is happening on the ground, but hopefully also to contribute to urgent measures that help protect the civilian population in these places and other places affected by war. We are aware that the work presented today might raise questions or might be considered controversial for some of you. Yet our aim today is not to discuss the content of the individual cases, yet to focus on more overarching questions of the relevance of doing research on water in times of war and the ethical implications of doing research in such violent places. This will therefore be the focus of the plenary discussion after the cases have been presented. Also building further on earlier sessions that we had with our project teams on research ethics and our program policy on nurturing cares in times of turmoil. In the slides, you will see the guiding questions for the panel discussion after the presentations. And we hope you as an audience can also already start reflecting on these questions. Now, let me shortly start to introduce the speaker of today, Ms. Asil Mohamed. Asil is a highly appreciated IHE alumnus from Sudan, specialized in hydroinformatics. And she's currently doing her PhD research at the University of Utrecht. She will tell us more about a large dam which is located in the middle of a battlefield in Sudan and therefore is not being maintained nor operated and is now at the verge of collapse, posing huge risks to people downstream. So without further ado, I welcome Asil to start her presentation.
Thank you, Yelcha, for the introduction. I will be presenting the case of Sudan, focusing on how conflict and climate change both threaten Jebel Aulia Dam. Sorry. I did this research at IHE from May to September with support from Yelcha herself and Yasir, who are both associate professor here at IHE Delft. I'll start my presentation with first the beginning of the war in Sudan. So in October 2023, Sudanese people woke up to the sounds of bombs and heavy weapons announcing the eruption of a war in Sudan. It started in the capital city, Khartoum, and then it spread all over almost all over the country. The conflict is between the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces. It resulted in a displacement crisis where over 11 million persons displaced internally or abroad. Similar to the different cases as in warfare, critical infrastructure are targeted, such as military bases, bridges, dams. So Jebel Aulia was the target in this case.
جبل أولياء كان الهدف في هذه الحالة وفي نوفمبر
Le barrage de Jebel Aulia a été ciblé.
The movable bridge of the dam was bumped and it was collapsed, leading to the dam operators to abandon their positions for their own safety. So leaving the dam without operation, without being managed, meaning that the gates of the dam are kept in fixed position. Going to an overview of the dam, Jebel Aulia Dam is located on the White Nile River, which is one of the main tributaries of the Nile River. White Nile River originates from Lake Victoria in Tanzania, Uganda. And the water from Lake Victoria flows to the north through South Sudan, then to Sudan, Jebel Oulia Dam, where the dam is located around 40 kilometers south of Sudan, of Khartoum city. And it's used for hydropower production, flood control, or its water for irrigation. The operation of the dam mainly depends on the flow also from the Blue Nile due to the backwater effect. So it's a bit of challenge here in operating Jebel Oulia Dam. But why did they target Jebel Oulia Dam specifically? Why is it considered as a strategic location? So the dam has a bridge over it, which serves as a critical supply route from Chad and Western Sudan to the capital city, to Khartoum, and to the cities in the eastern and central of the country. And also focusing more or zooming into the dam area, we can see that it's close to military bases like the An-Nujumi military base, helicopter base, and another one, in addition to also hospital, which makes it a strategic location. So in addition to these threats from these conflicts, there is also threats from climate change. So this figure shows the water level in Lake Victoria. We can see that in May 2024, the water level in the lake witnessed record breaking levels, where when comparing this water level with the previous 100 year, it's the highest. And keeping in mind that the dam is not operated, there is no operation changing the gate settings. And comparing this water level with the 2020 and 2021 water levels, we can see that it's obviously higher, knowing that in 2020 and 2021, the country witnessed severe floods due to these high water levels. So from this, we were motivated to study this case with the aim of simulating the operation of Jebel Oulia Dam under these fixed gate settings. This figure shows the gate openings in monthly time series, where the gray lines are showing the gate settings by year, while the blue is the average, and the orange is the current setting left by operators. As we can see, it's fixed, it's just one line. So to conduct this research, we contacted the Sudanese and South Sudanese ministries of irrigation and water resources. They provided us with historical data. We used this data to build our model and also to develop scenarios for the future. What can be the case? What can be the water levels in the area, in the reservoir? So building these scenarios, we use a water balance equation. With this equation, we were able to estimate the upstream water level in the reservoir, as well as the release from the dam. Then we analyzed the flood risks and validated these results using remote sensing data, as well as information from residents in Jebel Oulia area. For the simulations, we ran over 60 simulations, but here I'm just showing 3 of them. This scenario is for inflow scenario 95th percentile, which means higher inflows. And this figure is for the upstream water level. The gray shade is for the maximum and minimum recorded water levels since 1980s. And we can see from the different downstream water level scenarios that by the end of August and till the end of September, the water level will reach critical levels, and it also might overtop the dam. This was in September 2024. However, the dam wasn't overtopped. So we were also informed that the community, when they noticed that the water level in the dam reached critical levels, they reached out to the rapid support forces who are currently taking the dam under their control, and they pleaded them to higher the gate settings to open the gates wider, and they did so. They accepted their request, but we were uncertain about the specific height. So we used again our model, and we estimated that it's approximately 40 centimeters higher per gate. However, although the anticipated floods of October were passed safely, unexpected floods occurred in December, where many towns and villages along the White Nile were inundated, and they were severely flooded, and the houses were collapsed. So we were this flood actually happened due to mainly one reason, which is already covered, the high water level coming from Lake Victoria. And there's also one thing is that along the White Nile or along the reservoir, there are dikes and embankments to prevent when the water is high in the reservoir, to prevent it from being overtopped and entering the cities, entering the towns and villages. And these dikes should be maintained annually, but due to the ongoing war, they were not maintained, so they were breached and collapsed. So these towns and villages were flooded. And this also reminds us with a similar case, which is Arbaat Dam. Arbaat is another dam in Sudan. It was August 2024, also due to the lack of maintenance due to the ongoing war. But what could be the impact of this research? The risks are, and we can see that from these results, that the risks are not only coming from the direct attacks, they are not only coming from bombs or guns or explosives, but they can also come from the inability of managing the critical infrastructure. And we can also see that there are many vulnerable populations near Jabal Awliya Dam. So the affected people are huge. And after finishing this research, we noticed that the research has attracted also the local media coverage, which increased the public awareness and informed decision makers about these different risks. And we can say that even if the infrastructure cannot be fully managed or operated during war, research insights can help authorities to plan for evacuation or for emergency responses. So some take-home messages. First of all, predicting dam failures and the associated flood risks during wartime is essential to avoid catastrophic disasters. And also it's feasible to develop adequate models and to predict flood risks for data scarce and inaccessible areas such as Jabal Awliya Dam. And finally, we recommend to upgrade the methodology that we followed to allow it to use real-time modeling of water levels and to continuously validating these results using remote sensing data. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asil, for this interesting presentation. So I would like to move on to our second presenter of today. That is Mr. Monter Schoblack. He's the director of the Coastal Municipality Water Utility in Gaza, and he has more than 2 decades of experience of overseeing the technical, institutional, and financial aspects of water service provision in Gaza itself. Monter will share his detailed insights in how water infrastructure is targeted in Gaza as part of a warfare strategy, based on his personal role of trying to continue the water supply on behalf of the water utility in this war-torn area. Monter, I'm very happy to have you with us today, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for first of all inviting me for this respected event, and I'm delighted. Really, I'd like just to the presentation is that my presentation today could be different from any other presentation for something which is very important that I'm talking about a case that is still ongoing, meaning the result of or the impact of the war did not stop while I'm presenting or before presenting this case, but it's a subject of continuous change in terms of impact, even in terms of remedy of the impact, meaning that since the war did not stop, could be potential more destruction. At the same time, we are working upon the support of our partners, donor community, and UN agencies to try to fix some of damages in order to keep providing minimum adequate services for people under those harsh conditions. So, as it matching with the purpose of the objective of this seminar, the water infrastructure in terms of war, yes, but it talks about the weaponization of water by or under war. Well, just I'd like to take you for a few minutes or 1-2 minutes. What was the situation before the 7th October, the date of the start of the war? Upon the support of our partners in all over the world, we managed to improve the water and wastewater services as part of our effort to improve the life conditions in the Gaza Strip, where we built up infrastructure of around $1 billion in 2 decades, seawater desalination plants, wastewater treatment facilities, which enable us to improve the drinking water, and also in addition to that, purchasing water from the Israeli company Mikorot, so that we reach the per capita per day of around 83 liters per capita per day. While just a comparison, the Israeli citizen, they have access to around 3 times of the per capita per day of the Israeli because of the restriction on our capacity to develop our water resources by the imposing what is called the dual-use policies, imposing a restriction on Palestinians in the West Bank to dig wells without the permission of the Israeli authorities, which never been given for a long time. Now, talking about the liter per capita per day, I'd like to just to show from where we have our resources. 80% of our water is coming from the groundwater, the only source that we natural source that we have, which is a 95.7% is severely contaminated, meaning it has a very high contaminants in terms of drinking standards as per the WHO standards. 7% of our water is coming from the small size seawater desalination plants, and the remaining, the 12% is coming from the Israeli purchased water. I would like just to use this slide, and after I will explain why I'm saying that there's a systematic weaponization of water. As I mentioned earlier, because of the dual uses policy imposed by Israeli as a result of the boycott of the whole Gaza Strip, it has been agreed that in order that I get the approval from the Israeli side to enter materials, pumps, pipes, in order to construct or develop the water, the wash sectors, it has been recognized that I need to share with them all coordinates of all our facilities existing, even the ones that would be developed. And this has been approved or recommended by ICRC in order to witness the good coordination mechanism between us and the Israeli side. In addition to that, not only for having the approval for entry of materials, but also in order to avoid the Israeli targeting of our facilities whenever at any time if there is a confrontation, there is an attack or any war, so that the Israeli will not say that we don't know this location, whether it is civilian or it is military. And it worked because the 530 water and wastewater facility were shared with the Israeli side under what is called the GPS system, as maybe most of you know that. It's a live program where you can see the facility, the location, XYZ, and even the technical specifications of each facility. And it worked for a while until this war, when it has been declared by the defense minister of Israel at the 9th of October 2023, when he said clearly, it has been declared that there will be a complete siege on the Gaza Strip, and there will be no electricity, no food, no fuel, everything is closed. And those are to some extent are interlinked. Without water, we cannot produce food. Without electricity and or fuel, we cannot generate energy so that we keep the system running. And also, as a result of this declaration, on the 9th of October, all the 3 micro lines that are bringing the 52,000 cubic meter per day of water were cut off until the intervention of international organization, humanitarian, and will they convince the Israeli government so that part of the water, the lines after the other, but still the one is in Gaza City, which is the biggest population, kept closed until the 16th of May 2024. Besides, there was all the time interruption for 95% of the duration. Why? Because those lines are coming from the same side of the Gaza Strip, where the Israeli army invades Gaza, and mostly the pipeline, the transmission lines were most of the time destroyed, and they were not allowing us on the right time to fix them and fix them and fix them again and again. And this is the result, as to show up what does it mean, the micro line. Before the war, the blue line, it was around 55,000 cubic meter per day, while during the war it dropped severely. And this is the total capacity, which around until the May 2024, it was around 12 to 13,000 cubic meter per day. And the average water supply, as it is shown with the total actual total supply, which the fluctuation with, as I said, with the destruction or systematic destruction of the transmission lines bringing water from the Israeli side. Now, going just to analysis of the destruction water and wastewater, and just I'd like to highlight again and again, because I know that in front of researcher, academic, whatever I'm mentioning today, it's a subject of research. You're talking about that destruction needs to go through this and see. Talking about damages during the war, just to understand why we call it intentional destruction, because before, until when the Israeli imposed the siege on Gaza since 2007, and the imposing of what is called the dual-use policy. Dual-use policy, just to understand, it means that anything could be used other than normal use, like a knife, like a pipe, a pump, could be dual use and needs to have the Israeli prior approval, which is most of the time taking long time. But in order to avoid misunderstanding, we shared upon the suggestion from ICRC all our 530 water and wastewater facility on a GPS system with the ISI, so that they know all locations, the technical specifications for all our facilities, so that you don't target it and you don't use it as a weapon, which was not the case during the war, because everything was targeted. 71% of the municipal brackish water treatment plant were out of order.
من هذه
Parce qu'il y a eu une destruction partielle ou totale.
Wells, especially in the Gaza Strip and the north, were destroyed. 66 of our water reservoirs, especially in north of Gaza, in Gaza City and Khan Yunis, were destroyed. And one of 3 CO2 destruction plants was destroyed, especially the one in Gaza City, north of Gaza City. And this is the result of this destruction, where it has been recorded that 84% of our water capacity of production dropped. Beside the high restriction on the fuel as subsidy or substitution of the electricity cut, we were using our standby systems, but even this without fuel, it could not be operated. That's why the Israeli, they put very high restriction on the entry of fuel, and we were allowed only 50% of our needs of fuel, so that it led to severe drop on our water production and operation of our water and wastewater systems. Well, this has been resulted into automatically on 94% of reduction on the water availability, the liter per capita per day. Before the war, as it has been mentioned in the first slides, that we were reaching 83 to 84 liters per capita per day before the war, upon the development of our non-conventional water resources, while because of the destruction of the facilities and the restriction on the fuel supply to operate the facilities, the per capita per day dropped. to reach 3 liters per capita per day in the north in Gaza, and up to 20 to 12 liters per capita per day in the middle and in Rafah. Before the war, as I mentioned before, back again, and it's a subject of research in order to compare what was before and after, and the dynamicity of those change upon the continuous war and its impact on the water and water facilities. As I said, 33 liters per capita per day was reached, and 40% of which was in accordance of WHO standards. Why I'm mentioning that? Because our only resource is the aquifer, which 97% is contaminated, so that we rely more on the non-conventional water resource. Top of that, desalination plants and purchase of water on Israeli side. The three seawater desalination plants were producing 15,000 cubic meter per day, and the purchase of water was up to 52,000. As I mentioned, dropped to be after May 2024 around 38,000 cubic meter per day. All the time, 80%, 84% drop of production as a result of the electricity cut and the destruction of water and wastewater facilities. And this I already mentioned, but I came back. 3 liters for Gaza, 9 liters in the middle area, while it should be not less 15 liters per capita per day. And this is according to international standards. Under emergency situation, we should not have less than 15 liters per capita per person, which is practically upon the engineering design. It represents the quantity of water that need to flush a toilet, so that when you design a water system, you consider such kind of criteria. Even this hasn't been reached during the war, which impacted the life and the health and the environment of the people. Add to that, the sanitation situation was also severely impacted when the Israeli army started their invasion in the eastern side, where we have the 3 highly advanced wastewater treatment facilities were partially or completely destroyed, which impacted on us how we can collect and treat and dump the sewage, which even with the low quantity of water supply, the people are producing sewage, and all this sewage is either dumped to the ocean, which is more pollution, or is flooding around tents and around shelters, because there is no network in the Mawasi area that we transport the sewage to the dumping sites, which, as shown in this picture up, the sewage is flowing over the streets while people are walking, but also around tents where kids and women and men are moving, which impose on them, and which was a reason behind a consortium, a spectrum of diseases which has been declared by WHO when they mention clearly that Gaza is a subject of polio, cholera, and a list of epidemics which was behind our back since more than 2 decades. In addition to the destruction of water and wastewater facilities, even it reached to our management facilities and assets like our warehouse. This is the warehouse where, sorry, this is the headquarters where my office, as you see behind my back, it's the picture of my office, which is supposed to be here, and it became a rubble. It has been directly targeted by the airstrikers, Israelis, and beside the warehouse, which was the heart of our operation, $9 million was targeted. Although the warehouse was deconflicted and got the Israeli approval to be away from any targeting during the war, upon the approval, upon the coordination from OCHA, from UNICEF and ICRC, but it was targeted. In addition to our largest sampling facility, which is our laboratory, which was also targeted. This is Al-Mawasi, as you see, meaning that 1.5 million inhabitants were pushed, 1 million from Gaza, and in addition to the people of Khan Yunis and Rafah were pushed to live in a desert called Al-Mawasi, which is from the sea. Nothing could be served in this area. It's an infrastructure without infrastructure. So people were relying on the water trucking, on septic tanks, and everything was inside those heavily populated retention camps. The impact, as I mentioned, WHO mentioned that 26% of the population were subject of waterborne diseases, and respected academic institutions were confirming the excess of death due to traumatic injuries, malnutrition, infectious diseases, etc. I will go to the conclusion in order to finish with the presentation. The military Israeli operation response was unexpected and widespread and destroying all our civil infrastructure. It was disproportionate. Israeli total siege and blockade hindering our capacity to keep providing service even under war by cutting on electricity, war, and fuel. A statement confirmed by Israeli officials that it was by purpose, targeting our facilities. They should be accounted, they should be liable, and we are calling on the international community to ensure responsible and cost of repairing the $860 million, which is the current value of damages. And in this sentence, I would like to call on the researcher effort in order to keep making analysis with the impact of the destruction on water, wastewater, health, environment, and keep an eye on the capacity, our capacity to keep operating our facilities and keep repairing our facilities. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready for any question that may arise from the respected audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monter. I'm very happy that you could finalize this very important presentation.
Me too.
Thank you very much. I would like to proceed with our third presentation of today, which will be given by Badran Al-Damashi and Adam Mohsen Al-Salwi together. They both, next to their jobs for the Social Fund for Development and the FAO, are doing their MSc thesis research right now within the UHARA project in Yemen. And they will tell us a bit more about the fragmented water service provision in a Yemeni city and how people search for alternative water sources like rainwater harvesting and other sources because of the water infrastructure being largely destroyed after more than a decade of war. So I would like to ask you to open your microphone and to share with us your presentation for today.
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening for all. This is Adam Mohsen from Yemen. Our presentation today is about the impact of war on water surface in Ta'a city, Yemen. Next. Yes. Ta'a city is the cultural capital of Yemen, and it is located in the middle of Yemen. Ta'a city is a fetal city in Yemen with in different level. It is economically, socially, culturally, politically. It is the human resources reservoir of Yemen. During the war, the beautiful city has changed significantly. So these pictures in the left side show the beauty of the city, but in the right side, on the right side of the screen, you see how the war affected the city. So the right side pictures show the impact of the war on the city. Next, please. This picture you see primarily women who started collecting water when the water tanker provided by philanthropists. People started to crowding to fill their canisters and fill their container, getting water for their domestic uses and need. Why this? This is because the water surface was cut off from their houses and the water corporation totally collapsed, because the water corporation was unable to provide the water for people because of the war. Therefore, the philanthropist organizations, charities, private sectors started to provide water for people. These pictures become common for people around Ta'a's neighborhood and streets. Next, please. This is the location of Ta'a city in Yemen, as shown in this map. It is a very highly populated city. Next. Here are 4 maps showing the urbanization and expansion of the city, and this reflects the rapid urbanization and rapid population growth, which affected directly the water scarcity. And these pictures and these maps, the city grown 6 times from since the 80s of the last century until 2022. Okay. The water scarcity in the city, in Tall City, is a big issue since the 17th of the last century, even before the war. Taz has different layers of complexities, mainly the water scarcity is growing and growing with the passage of time. In 2009, it was reported by KfW that Taz was the only city with water supply system in MENA region, provides water once every 40 days. And this clarifies how the complexity in the water scarcity and in the water sectors in this populated city. Next. Yeah, the war split the city and divided the city into 2 parts. The areas controlled by the international recognized government, and there are areas controlled by Sana'a government. And the majority of people are under the international recognized government. So we have now 2 local authorities, 2 currencies with different different rights. The transportation is one of the major sectors affected by the water, by the war, like the waters. And as you've seen in the maps here, how the areas are controlled by each conflicting parties. You see the road, the purple road that you see here, the purple road, the people spend 10 hours instead of spending 10 minutes to go to the part of the city. Next. These 2 photos shows how people suffer, a lot of suffering, transportations, in livelihood, in all aspects of the life, but more significantly in water surface, which was by the collapse of the water corporation that was collapsed completely. Imagine that you are living in such area that where there is no roads, there is no waters, there is no health facilities, and there is no other services. The social cohesion also highly affected, and some people haven't seen their relatives for years. Next. These maps show clearly how the water will feel distributed in the area located in the areas controlled by the conflicting parties. Here there are 5 wheel fields in the city. That is the red line is the border and the front line between the 2 conflicting parties. And this map shows the water system is managed by 2 governments. As you see here in the slides, the waters transcends the conflict boundaries. Even though such difficulty situation, the 2 government and the 2 water corporation and 2 water authorities in the city have to cooperate and have to talk together to each other to manage and to operate this system, the water system. And this may act as a catalyst for peace in the city. Next, please. Now we will talk about the water corporation in the city. Next. This slide shows the buildings of the 2 water corporation. Also, they are completely separated corporation and utilities from each other. They still cooperating and managing and operating one water system in the city. Next, please. The local corporation are the damage status in the waters infrastructure and assets reach around 40%, according to the World Bank Dynamic Need Assessment in 2018. As you've seen in the chart here, and the total cost estimated of the damming reach also $32 million. Next. These are examples of photos showing the damage on the water facilities, buildings, assets, and warehouses. Next, please. The destruction also on the buildings. Here are examples of the destructions and damages on the buildings. Next. There are also the damage on the equipments, and the laboratory of the corporation was damaged completely. And now my colleague Badran will continue with the next slide.
Hi, everyone. This is Badran. As my colleague mentioned earlier, there is a big water crisis in the city. And in this slide here, we illustrate some statistics and figures to showing the conflict impact in water production and supply in the city. 51 boreholes and more than 13,000 cubic meter per day production capacity lost due to conflict. The current capacity only 17 boreholes operation, providing 4,000 cubic meter per day. The 27 boreholes is suspended and losing more than 9,000 cubic meter per day. Next. The numbers in this slide shows the severe reduction in water surface coverage over time, highlighting a crucial issue on infrastructure planning. This information can help to emphasizing the urgent need of intervention and improvement in water surfaces coverage. Next. This graph display the decrease in water production from 2014 and 2018, then a constant level until 2022, show a steady actual water needs, which slightly increased from 2019 to 2022. This illustration of water droplet with a sad face, symbolizing the deteriorating situation. This image overall underscore the decline in water surface efficiency and the growing gap between production and the actual water needs, emphasizing the urgent need for intervention. Next. This slide presents data comparing key parameters of water surfaces before and after 2015. It is divided into 3 sectors: periods of water supply, which was 16 to 20 hours every 40 days. And after 2015, it's just 8 to 9 hours every 40 days. The length of water network and the number of pipes destroyed before 2015, 804 kilometers, and after 2015, 10% of these pipes are destroyed. The revenue and the expenses of the local corporation in ties before 2015 was more than 136 million, and after 2015 it is zero, because the people cannot afford the money to buy or to buy bills. The non-revenue water before 2015 was 30%, and after 2015 it becomes 100. The total expense before 2015 it was more than 991 million. And after 2015, it was only 32 million. The image underscores the significant decline in water, severe periods, and the destruction of water network pipes, and the financial impact of local corporation tasks. Next. This slide shows various national and international NGOs and donors involved in addressing water crisis during conflicts. Like what you see, the image highlights the collaborative effort for multiple organizations working together to mitigate water crisis in war affected areas such as Taiz City. Next. This image show people collecting water from the large white water tank surrounding by several yellow water container. The water is provided by organization or charities. See the water by tanker trucks. This highlight the crucial role of humanitarian aid in providing essential resources like water to communities affected by conflict. It underscores the efforts of various organizations working together to mitigate the water crisis during wartime. Next. The image here highlights the physical effects involved in fetching water from distant sources, which consider common challenge in the city. The need to carry large container of water underscore the importance and necessity of this resource for daily living, and also discuss about the broader issue of water scarcity and the daily struggling faced by people in urban area, and the importance of improving water access and infrastructure. Among this crisis, there is also outbreak of cholera disease in the Taiz City 2018. Next. To overcome people there in the Taiz City to overcome water crisis, they are using affordable source of for their need of water by using an effective method for collecting and storing rainwater from rooftops, which can be used for various purpose, like domestic uses with proper even if they're a proper treatment they're using for drinking. This image can discuss importance the rainwater harvesting as a sustainable water management practice and its potential benefits for communities facing water scarcity. Next. Over to my colleague Adam. Yes.
Can you please try to shorten up so that we still have time to finish Monter's presentation? Thank you.
Yes, just very quick to complete this 2 slides. We have just left 3 slides. This is about the water, you can say, as Badran concluded, rainwater harvesting techniques proved to be competitive option in Taiz City. And so accordingly, a joint proposal drafted jointly by Water and Environment Centers in Sana'a University drafted a proposal to the DUPS. So urban rainwater harvesting project was we are working and study under it is targeting 10 cities in Yemen, including Taiz. The intervention in this city, in Taiz City, is peace building, also training water utilities to develop a rainwater harvesting plan to enhance water services at household levels. Next, please. There is also another interventions related to at the community level through organizing local communities, formulating water user associations, and as well as training them and how to develop proposals. Other activities related to the research, myself and my colleagues got scholarship in these programs, and we are studying the rainwater harvesting possibilities in Tall City. Next, please. Briefly, in the main conclusion of this, the water sources are vulnerable and collapse during the conflict, causing disease outbreaks such as cholera happened in 2018. Water trans-conflict boundaries acting as a catalyst for peace. Finally, water harvesting proved to be a competitive option and safe solution in emergencies at household levels and for recharging groundwaters in water well-filled wells. Thank you.
So big thanks to all presenters today for their insightful cases. We will now continue to a panel discussion. And in addition to the speakers, the presenters that you already met, I would also like to introduce Dr. Bilkis Sabara. She's an associate professor at the Sana University and coordinator of the Uhara project on rainwater harvesting in Yemen. So she will also join the panel. I would like to ask the panelists to open their cameras if possible. If your internet connection allows you to open the videos. I already saw several questions from the audience in the chat. So if people want to respond to those, feel free to use this chat as well. However, in the panel discussion, we are not going to focus on individual cases, but we will focus more over the overall aim of today, in which we would like to focus on questions on what is the relevance of doing research on water infrastructure in times of war, and what are the ethical implications of doing such research in violent and hostile places. So in the beginning, I already shared a few questions with the audience as well, and I would like to start asking a question to Bilkis. So can you tell us a little bit more what you think of what is the relevance of doing research in times of war, and what can we achieve with doing this kind of research in conflict areas?
Yes, welcome, Jeltje. Yes, basically researchers are filling knowledge gaps. So for themselves to do their research and get their degree, of course, and also to inform national and international organizations and policymakers for humanitarian and for development interventions. As well as also they can benefit also the normal or regular population about how to improve, for example, their rainwater harvesting systems they are establishing, or how to manage their water shortage better, or so forth. So yes, I think that these are the main benefits you can get out of these researches. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Asil, can I ask you to also comment on this question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think, first of all, doing research in conflict area or in war zones, it helps us to understand the different risks that we can expect. Knowing the risks, we can then make better decisions by informing decision makers to take the proper actions. If there's no action can be done, then here comes the responsibility, let's say, for the different authorities and agencies to prepare emergency responses and maybe evacuation also responses. One more thing I think it's also could be relevant is if this research was well disseminated and in a way that it can be understood by local people or local communities, it can raise awareness to the anticipated risks that they can experience. And I think the one last point that I can share is that doing such research in an area, let's say the war or the risk already passed safely or even unsafely, this research can can help similar areas, but in different regions. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Asil. Monte, the same question for you, but now also reflecting on the fact that actually what is going on in Gaza is quite well known and reported upon. I think the cases in Sudan and in Yemen are not getting that much attention as the situation in Gaza, but still the destruction of water infrastructure is ongoing till today, also in Gaza. So how do you reflect on the question, like what is the relevance of doing this kind of research, and what can we achieve with doing this kind of research?
First of all, as it has been mentioned more than a time before, this war in the last previous 3-4 wars, that the Israeli forces, they were using a lot of weapons, kind of weapons that was really worrying. And Gaza, only aquifer, it's a small piece of land. It's between 7 to 14 kilometers wide, and people are in this area. So any kind of weapons could impact on the sand, the air, and the aquifer. Especially the aquifer is very, very shallow beside the sea. So at least let us make a baseline, taking into consideration what the situation of the water quality, the wastewater quality before the war, and start to reflect on what the impact of usage of those weapons on the resources, on the wastewater, on the soil, on the air. Especially we are living in an area which depending on fishing and agriculture mostly. The second issue that could be a subject of research, also the impact of what we are drinking and what we are providing as services for the people project is still under the war. So it needs to take a line with the health organization and see what will be the impact of the war as a result of the polluted water, as it has been mentioned by WHO standards. It says 26 of people having waterborne disease. This issue needs to be also time to be a subject of research. And I think also from engineering point of view, we need the effort of our colleagues in the academic engineering institution to come up with genuine solutions so that whenever we come to rebuild the water and wastewater facility, it could need to more efficient and more advanced technologies and to be built in short time and be more efficient in providing service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monter. A follow-up question. Perhaps I start with Asil again, if she's okay with it. The insights from the research, or what you have been researching, can also be abused by the other rivalry party, in the sense of that perhaps for some a flooding might be useful to also affect the area controlled by the opposite party, I would say. And perhaps the same happens also to some extent in Yemen and in Gaza. So what does that mean for our responsibilities as a researcher when also insights of research might be used for as a weapon? It's also data and information can also be used in the warfare strategies. So could you reflect on that question?
Thank you. I think researchers shall be careful in this mean. First of all, they shall analyze and understand the situation. Understanding the situation, then they can know what to share. Specifically, shall they share all their results or just part of it? Where to share them? Shall they share them with local communities, with the scientific communities, or to one party of the conflicted parties? When to share them? When to share these results? And I think for some research, they can find themselves in the position that it's not possible to share it, even one insight of it. So I think, yeah, this is a bit of a challenging question.
Thank you very much, Asil. Bilkis, may I ask also you to reflect on this question, like when insights from a research can also be used as a strategy within warfare?
Yeah, actually, there's no one answer or real answer for this question. So this is a very sensitive question also. So yeah, the best thing is what researchers can do to mitigate the risk as much as possible. As Asil also said, yes, to take care when and where to disseminate information, and what terms to use also, because using a certain terminology could be a major risk to the researcher itself and to the people around them, whether it's a family or the whole community or the research community as well. So yes, it's quite difficult, as I said, to answer the question. One should analyze the whole situation. Where you do your research first, and so to yeah, take care of not putting those people at risk and others as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bilkis. To continue on
Yes.
this question, Adam, I think you're also with us, right? May I ask you for you? So how can we indeed ensure the safety of those involved in our research or affected by our research? And perhaps maybe you can share some insights from your own experiences of doing research in areas that yeah, are affected by war.
Yes, thank you. For the safety of people, that we have to ensure their safety, and to ensure firstly the safety of the researcher firstly. We have first to make a risk assessment for the situation, and to select the proper people for the in the research. Also, at the same time, we have to ensure stakeholder engagement during the preparation for the research, that to conduct or to involve the authorities, and to involve also the key stakeholders from the communities, the leaders of the communities as possible. And this might help and positively to improve the safety of the participant in the research. Thank you.
I see Badran also have his hand up. Please feel free to add.
No, for about the answer of this question, the safety of participants or those affected in the research can be ensured through a preliminary assessment of potential risk at all stages of the research. In addition to involving the local community in the various stages of research and raising awareness of the important and objective of the research, as well as the dealing confidentially with the data and respecting the privacy of those people. This is my my point of view about this question. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to also go a little bit into more depth in what kind of research methods can be used in places like this to do research, but also what kind of data sources could we build on. I would like to also go to Monter in this aspect, because you are actually busy trying to keep the water service ongoing in Gaza as much as possible. At the same time, I know that also on the one hand, of course, remote sensing and images could already show the damage done, but also many people reported from the ground, people who just live in Gaza, who are witness of what is going on in the area. So what do you see? How do you see different research methods coming together in terms of doing research in such areas? And what are your reflections on that?
First of all, back to your question about my opinion with regard to the purpose of the research and how it could be used as reflect on the life of the people and being used as open. It's normal. The science, it has its two purposes. One for the life, comfortable life content people, and for the welfare of the people. But also it could be used as open. The fragrant example is the nuclear research. Nuclear research, it is used for enlightening the life of people, for bringing more free, more less expensive energy, but also to enhance all sectors in development. But also it is a weapon today threatening the life of the people. And in Gaza, it's a typical example where research was used to harden the life of the people, to destroying their life and their cities and their essential services. And I think, as it has been mentioned by more than international organizations, that some weapons are used today in Gaza for the first time as research on human beings. So I kindly urge researchers to give their all time and efforts to the good faith, to the development of society, to make peaces among nations. And what we are today using, what we are using before the war, that we use the most advanced technology upon research that carried out by our universities and other partners universities, so that we develop the most up-to-date technology in order not only to provide services for water, but also we managed to fix the problem of energy out of producing energy from the wastewater treatment of wastewater, from the wind, from the wave. This is the kind of research that we need, even as I earlier mentioned, we need from researchers to help us in order not only to fix damages, but also to better and best build the city in more clean ways and less expensive and in short time. Thank you.
Thank you, Monta. Just to continue, just stay on. So what kind of methodologies do you see available to collect data and to do research in the area? Because it's of course also very difficult
yes,
to continue the research.
Yes, you are right. In our services, we need the field research. It's very important. It's very important. It could not make remotely. However, today with the GPS system that we developed, which is an operational GPS, we are ready. As CMW, when we have it, and it has been used by international organizations, even by the World Bank, by EU, by UNICEF, by Oxfam. It has been used in order to make research on two things: the quantitative research and the qualitative, so that we can have a record database, historical database for the researcher, and they can have the most updated data out of this program. So remotely. Nevertheless, again, they can have like a partnership with their counterpart in Gaza, universities, and CMW, that you can confirm the data that you have with more accurate in terms of after the field visit of the facilities that are going to make research on.
Thank you, Monter. Bilkis, may I also ask you to respond or react to this question? Because I know from the story also that was shared already in the chat that doing research in Yemen is not easy at the moment. So how do you look at the questions of what kind of data sources and methods are available?
That is true. In fact, you can do all kind of research, quantitative and qualitative, mixed and everything. It's more the question about whether you get the data and whether you get the correct data also. And that depends on the context itself, not only in whole Yemen, but in parts of Yemen. It's for example, so you have to get permissions, for example, in the northern part of Yemen to go to the field, and you are not allowed to use a GPS to get the locations. And this in itself are big restrictions for doing good research. Also, because of the humanitarian dilemma in such contexts, you cannot always rely on the information you get through one method, but you have to take care that you get reliable data. And so it's better to use more than one method and keep maybe also your interviewees, maybe to take a larger number of interviewees, so to get reliable data also, and to triangulate these data, and for the fear of having only to get propaganda and such things, yes, and because of the bias of the sampling also, and yes.
I see also quite some questions in the chat about water quality issues. Could you reflect on that? To what extent it's possible, for instance, do sampling of water quality in areas like Yemen, and how that could be facilitated?
Yeah, that depends upon who requests the water quality sampling or testing, whether it's the community itself, or whether it's a certain authority or an NGO also, because very often it happens that the international NGOs or national NGOs, they have to get the permission, for example, to do these tests, and that is could be quite a humbling thing to not do the testing. But on the other side, they could get also the authorization to do the testing. It depends always upon how good the relationships between those NGOs and between the local government is. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Asil, may I ask you to say something about data sources and methods? You did your research fully from Delft.
Yeah.
So can you reflect a little bit on that, and what is possible, and what are the limitations, but also the opportunities for the kind of research you have been engaged in?
Yeah. I think globally available data and remote sensing data made such research more feasible, let's say. However, we should also be careful with using such data. First, we have to evaluate their performances using even historical data and correcting them if any correction needed. I think also some information from residents could be invaluable. And for the methods, let's say scenario discovery and scenario analysis can also be very suitable in such cases due to the deeply uncertain situation that we are searching on. So making different feasible scenarios can inform decision makers or can even inform researchers to have more robust outcomes.
Thank you very much. Badran, can I ask you maybe another question about when you do your research and you're doing field work, how do you interact with the different authorities and the parties that are trying to control certain areas? How do you navigate these complex relations?
Yes, my study of area was Al-Mudaffar city, inside the city, inside that city. My methodology to collecting the data from there by using questionnaires and interviews sometimes. And we what our Dr. Bilqis said, there is some exaggeration from people, how they feeling about the situation, and they exaggerate, and they maybe could be express about your feeling in wrong way. See, because that my supervisor accredited 5 types of questionnaires. Beside the household questionnaires, there is 4 also 4 models or 4 forms of questionnaires to ensure that data is good quality. See, and also we got some samples to ensure that quality of harvested water is in good well. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I see that we are coming to the end of the presentation and this session. I just want to give Monter, do you have anything you would like to discuss or to raise in relation to what have been said before?
Yes, with regard to the analysis and research, we have the capacity even under the war, even when our lab was destroyed, which was carrying out even the heavy metal analysis, it has been again developed or rebuilt our lab, and we have the capacity to cooperate in any kind of research that would like to look at the impact on the world, on the environment, on the soil, on the health. And it will also be based on third-party declaration about the potential impact on the water, on what I mentioned, like WHO, Oxfam, UNICEF, all those international organizations, and through which all researcher can have access to trustful data that would be carried out from our staff working on the ground. So any researcher would like to have fresh data, new data, and any kind of research that would like to be carried out in Gaza, in addition to our partnership with academic all over the world and in Gaza, of course, they are welcome and we will be supported.
Thank you very much, Monter. With that, with those wise words, I would like to end this panel discussion. I think it shows very much how important collaboration is within the countries, but also internationally, and indeed between academia, but also NGOs and other agencies involved in trying to help the local population in times of war, but also hopefully rebuilding infrastructure after the war has ended. So I would like to thank all the speakers of today and encourage them to continue their much needed and very brave research under very difficult circumstances. It was very insightful for us to learn more from your research and to understand better what it means to do research in areas like this and what the added value is of doing research in such places and how we need to continue supporting the kind of research you are doing. For our project teams that are joining today, this seminar will be followed soon by thematic learning sessions in which we will further discuss and reflect on your team's experiences with working in challenging circumstances and how you can nurture care and ethical collaborations in such situations. The insights of your projects will also be used to further update our program policy on research ethics. So please keep an eye on the invitations for these thematic sessions, and those will be closed, so not for external audiences, unfortunately, but we hope in the future to also organize other sessions where we hopefully can continue this much important debate. And to all other people here with us from outside our program, we thank you very much for being here with us. We will share the recordings of this seminar with you. And of course, we look very much forward to meet you again in one of our other events or in other places. I already saw some recommendations of other events where perhaps similar presentations can be shared. So we look forward to meet you again. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thanks a lot to the presenters today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
We look forward to meet you again.
Thank you. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's our
Bye-bye.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.